Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Big Mike Sports. This is your host, Big Mike.
The one and only.
We are Atlanta born, Carolina raised, Detroit driven, and I'm not sure if I've ever seen a team implode in such record time as quickly as the Chicago Bears are currently imploding with not only the whole Justin Fields comments, which we will get to in a second, but also at the same exact time as that whole thing is going on, the Bears defensive coordinator having to step away for, let's just say, some personal issues. Now, this first headline was one of the wildest headlines I've ever personally read, saying that former Bears defensive back Peanut Tillman, who is he a Hall of Famer yet? I'm not sure if he's actually a Hall of Famer yet, but he should be. But anyway, currently an FBI agent. So imagine your own former player, one of your former greats, coming around as a Fed and saying what your defensive coordinator has allegedly been doing, which is pretty bad. We'll get to it. But anyway, his house got raided by the FBI. You already know that you're doing something pretty bad for your house to be raided by the FBI, first of all, let alone have Peanut Tillman come in to ruin your day. And of course, the DC Allen Williams resigned right after this happened. And then a little later on, it was reported that the Sting found some extremely sensitive quote unquote content, and Williams will never coach again for Chicago or any NFL team for the rest of his life. So you know exactly what they found on that computer based on what that statement says. I don't think I really have to explain to you. It's you know, not good stuff. And but the headline from ESPN reads that Bears DC Williams resigns to focus on his health. No quote, unquote, there for the phrase focus on his health. No irony at all. I think that's kind of intellectually dishonest and also like journalistically kind of weird. Like you can't really just say that he's trying to do that when he's obviously not. Like it's been, I guess, not everything's been 100% confirmed. I'm not sure. It might still just be a rumor at that point, but I mean, it's on pretty good authority that what he did has nothing to do. Well, I mean, it could have to do with his health eventually once his freedom gets threatened and everything. He also said it was also kind of a family thing, which you could say that if anybody was found with what he had, I think your family would be pretty upset. But yeah, and then on top of all that, we have the Justin Fields stuff where, if you watch the interview, he's saying that he's robotic, not really playing how he wants to, and he kind of hesitates for a second before he drops the bomb, saying that he thinks that it could be the coaching. I think that he knew exactly what he was saying, trying to blame the coach, trying to get out from underneath everything, and probably not the greatest staff for the Bears right now, anyway. So the blame is widespread, but yeah, kind of a cop out for Fields to say it like that. And then, a couple hours later or whatever, he's in the locker room trying to explain it away. But he knew exactly what he was trying to say, and the whole rebuttal by him in the locker room was just so like cringy to watch. Like we know exactly what you meant, Justin. We know exactly what you're doing, and coming from me, obviously, it's kind of it's funny to me as a Lions fan and everything to dunk on the Bears like this because for whatever reason they were off-season darlings when they threw all that money around the media. They were trendy picked by the media to actually do something this year. But all that money and it's gonna buy you maybe 4 wins over the course of the season. Fields has lost 10 straight games in which he has started. And he's looking even worse than he did last year. I mean, at least last year he was able to run around and kind of take the league by storm a little bit. But you can't really play that way now if you're trying to, advance your career and everything, reach new heights. So not a good look for Fields. Not a good look for the entire organization. The entire Bears organization is really just a dumpster fire right now. I mean, I really don't see how this pans out in any good way. And it might be just another number one overall pick for them this year because the Buccaneers started off 2-0, and the Cardinals are at least competitive. Like, I don't know, the Cardinals might be more competitive than the Bears are right now, and that's really bad because the Bears supposedly have a franchise quarterback and a good defense, but for whatever reason, none of the skilled players can do anything on that team. I mean, we brought up the Chase Claypool stat before where the team's never won a game that he's played in. So all in all, just an awful look for the Bears. I really don't know how you come back from this in any way. I mean, it's just going to be another lost season for them. I don't know if the entire regime's even going to come back or anything, but not good. Not good. We know who's going to finish last place in the NFC North right now, and it's not going to be the Vikings. I think that it's definitely going to be the Bears. 4 wins, another number one overall pick, and it's kind of sad too because you think they might just get rid of Justin Fields and cut their losses after this year. I mean, especially if they're going to make a whole change, everywhere. Fields is definitely gone, and it sucks because they totally doubled down on him, right? They could have gotten rid of him beforehand, but they said, no, this is our guy, and their guy is currently throwing them under the bus and really not showing any traits you wanted from a franchise quarterback. So just not a good look in any capacity. And the coaching being how it is with your DC getting caught like this, just the whole organization's tarnished. Can't really say it enough. So yeah, it'll be a fun season to watch for sure on their part.
That's terrible.
And tonight we have another edition of Thursday Night Football to quote unquote look forward to as the Giants go and visit the 49ers in San Francisco. And no better team to try and get right against than the 49ers, right? If you're a struggling team like the Giants. They did have that comeback victory against the Cardinals, but to go down that big in the first half against a team that's generally considered to be the worst team in the NFL, not a good look. I mean, at least you got the momentum a little bit from the comeback, and Daniel Jones looked good in that second half and ended up being the top fantasy performer at the quarterback position for that week after an awful, awful start. But he also had Saquon Barkley going down, which is really bad for the Giants offense because Barkley is, the X Factor guy. There's not really anybody else on the field who can do exactly what he can do. Daniel Jones can make plays with his legs a little bit, but Waller, maybe being their best pass catcher, not a whole lot from the receiver position in terms of explosive plays. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Giants can play ball control against one of the teams that's also one of the best at playing ball control in the 49ers, with that offense being run and managed perfectly by Purdy. You got McCaffrey, who is one of the leading rushers in the league, keeping it on the ground. But Brandon Ayuk going down for the 49ers after that huge game last week. So we'll see who steps up at the receiver position from them. Maybe pick the under on this game. I'm not sure exactly where the total is, but I'm not sure if a whole lot of points are going to be scored in this game as both teams try and keep control of the ball and waste the game away. I mean, also the Giants 10.5 point underdogs. Definitely taking that. Definitely taking the Giants to cover. I don't think that San Francisco is going to run away with this one with their top explosive playmaker being out for this game. So hopefully it'll be an exciting game. Hopefully the Giants will be able to keep it competitive, at least until the very end. Or maybe another comeback will be in store, who knows. But we're hoping for a big scoring game from Daniel Jones in fantasy once again because, for better or worse, he is our fantasy starting quarterback in at least one league. So definitely rooting for the guy. Hopefully he'll be able to get on track, even though he is a Duke grad. We all know how those Duke grads can be. But yeah, hopefully it'll be an entertaining game after a couple of clunkers on Monday night. Maybe some more fourth quarter excitement as the Giants are probably going to try and come back. But also, I mean, the Giants could just come out in an early lead. Some games do happen like that where the underdog comes out to a pretty nice early lead, and then it would be on the 49ers to come back. So a lot of possibilities. Hopefully it's not just a blowout for the 49ers. You got to expect the unexpected. And the Giants are undefeated on the road, and this is actually the 49ers' first home game, so the fans will definitely show up. It's just a matter of whether the team will perform up to their expectations or not. The Giants are definitely going to be hungry after such a bad start to the year. They came in the year with some expectations, so they're definitely going to try and get on track against that tough 49ers defense, which can give up some big plays. I mean, the Rams did it a little bit last week with Puka going for his 15 catches to help give him the record for most catches in the first two games. And Kyron Williams also had a pretty nice game in that one too. So if you picked up Matt Breida as your Saquon handcuff, maybe he'll do something. But I'm not really thinking too much about that. I think it'll be on Daniel Jones for sure to take the reins and lead them to victory if they're going to get it. So looking forward to this one, which is weird considering the matchup, but just hoping for a good game. That's all you can really hope for.
Next question.
And then we'll get into this one a little more on tomorrow's show, but this is a game that honestly really scares me. Like, I'm not looking forward to this game. really hoping that the Lions will be able to win and get right at home, dropping their first game in pretty heartbreaking fashion to the Seahawks. Some late game lapses on all sides of the team, really. Uh, Hopefully, some of the mistakes that were made last week won't end up happening again this week. And probably a weaker opponent, all things considered, but still one that's very dangerous. I mean, they play a different brand of ball than the Seahawks. This is going to be a team with defense, and they're really grinding the ball out on the ground. And the defense is really what scares me because, Jesse Bates has been going off. It's going to be really, really nerve wracking to watch Goff have to play against guys like him in the secondary. This might be another one where both teams try and keep the ball on the ground, but the Lions' ability to do that will be kind of hampered with David Montgomery being out. Expect to see Craig Reynolds as more of the workhorse back, and then Jahmyr Gibbs still being sprinkled in as he has been. Still expect some more of the same from Jahmyr Gibbs, so hopefully he'll be able to pop off a big play because he's had some opportunities to hit the big plays. He just hasn't gone all the way with one just yet, but it will come. It will come. And then the ground and pound offense of the Falcons, hopefully the Lions will be able to bottle that up some more too. Last week, Kenneth Walker wasn't able to get a whole lot on the ground in terms of yards per carry, but he did have a couple walk-in touchdowns at the goal line, so that's another concern I have there. Hopefully they'll be able to limit the ground game and put the game in Ritter's hands, because if it comes down to that, if the game comes down to your quarterback, the the Lions will definitely win in that case because Goff is 100% a better quarterback than Ritter. You can't lose focus in the secondary. You can't get sucked in too much and allow a shot by Ritter off of play action or something like that. So you really got to be able to play to your strengths, know what they're going to try and hit you with, and try and counteract it. If it comes down to Goff versus Ritter, the Lions will definitely be able to win in this game. The Lions are going to have to figure out how to play with the lead if they come out with a lead to start, which, you hope they do. You definitely want to put this team away early and force them to throw. That way, it's playing against their strengths and into yours a little more. So, yeah, we'll get into this one a little more tomorrow, but definitely one that I'm interested in watching just to see exactly where the Lions are at this point in the season. Seeing what kind of team they are, a couple of grit and grind teams playing against each other. The Falcons do come in 2-0, but they haven't necessarily played anybody. I mean, they did have that 1-point win against the Packers where they really willed themselves a victory. It looked like the Packers were going to run away with that one for a little while. Jordan Love doing really well with 6 touchdown passes so far this year, but it was just not enough to beat the Falcons there. So, kind of if you think of the Lions and Packers as like similar teams, that really makes this one really, really thin margin. Detroit favored by 3 points. That also makes it kind of nervous. The Lions coming in as a favorite. There's a lot of big action on the Falcons to cover and Falcons money line, which makes you nervous as well. So definitely a very, very, very intriguing game. Of course, a couple of the people you see and contribute to this podcast are big Falcons fans, so this is always a big game. Now it's a really entertaining game when these teams get together. I mean, the Lions had a comeback against the Falcons in London that they won off of a last-second Matt Prater field goal, and then you had the Todd Gurley walk-in game, the game-losing touchdown by Gurley. And then Golden Tate also got tackled at the goal line on a potential game-winning touchdown one year as well. I think that was like 2018. So when these teams get together, something crazy always happens. It always comes down to the wire. So that's yet another reason why I'm nervous about this game. This game might give me even more of a heart attack than last week's game did. So we're going to put ourselves through it just like we do everything because we are a little masochistic as Lions fans and just fans of lovable losers in general. So I'm going to be on the edge of my seat the whole time. Trying not to hold my breath, but I am going to hold my breath. I mean, we're pulling for a Lions win, obviously. We think that this is a very winnable game, but things have to go right. If things start to go south again and this team can't put it together at the end, it's not gonna go well. So we definitely need to play with the lead, push the lead. I mean, have that killer mentality, right? I mean, have the killer mentality. Forget the injuries. We need to come out and win this game and show everybody, what this team is made of and what this team is going to be. Talk is cheap. We got to prove it.
I cannot tell you, it's confidential.
Yeah, so that'll do it for today. Hopefully there's not too much background noise. It's crazy times here at the World Sports Headquarters right now. But we'll maybe fulfill the promises that we made in previous episodes. In tomorrow's episode, we'll definitely do a more extensive Lions Falcons breakdown there because we're really excited about that game. But yeah, we'll see you then, I guess.